my name is FPL Pickle and welcome back to another Pickles preview video. I'm not gonna lie, that is a lot to say in one go. But anyway, we are one game week down and boy, it has been a whirlwind to say the least. If you're new around here, then Pickles Preview is a new series where I cover some of the game week highlights, help guide you through some of the dilemmas that you may have for the upcoming game week, and I also come up with some fun predictions for the upcoming game week, and spoiler alert, but we've got one correct already. So if you enjoyed today's video, please give the video a like and please also consider subscribing if you're new around here. I'd really appreciate the support. But before we get into the game week highlights, I'd just like to quickly go over how I've done this game week. So I'm not going to dwell too long on this because I'm sure you can see on the screen, got 55 points altogether, 4.2 million rank, so not overly outstanding, but not a complete disaster. But I do think the likes of Reinders and Sanchez absolutely saved my game week. Overall, people were pretty disappointing, especially with the likes of Palmer and Watkins and Rogers blanking, and Fulkrug was a bit of a disaster as well. So yeah, not much to report there. Obviously, it's important to not panic at this stage. I'll go over some of the dilemmas that I have for my team later on in the video. But in more positive news, let's take a look at the predictions that I made in Game Week 1. So I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but we have already got a Pickles prediction correct. And that was that Leeds keep a clean sheet against Everton. I actually can't believe I got one right already. So if you're new around here, each week I make 3 predictions about the game week, and I've decided that if I get more than 10 correct across the season, then I'll donate £100 to a charity of your choice. So in the comments, please let me know if there are any charities that you'd like me to support, and I'll keep those in mind. But yeah, the fact that we're 1 down already, and it's only game week 1, is such a good start, and that's really exciting. And even the first prediction, Fabian Schär receiving the red card, I was actually kind of close because wrong right centre back, like it was Konsa that got a red card. So I wasn't far off with that. And yeah, Wolves didn't get a pen. But yeah, I'm just so excited that I even got one right to begin with, and I'm excited to show you later what my next set of predictions will be. But before we do that, let's talk about the Game Week 1 highlights. So starting off with the Liverpool-Bournemouth game, I mean, Salah right at the end got his goal, and as a Salah captain, I was very grateful for that. But watching the game, he didn't look his best by any means. I'm just hoping that this goal will give him a bit more confidence. Gakpo again got a goal and created 0.44 XA. He was so good, and with the likes of Verts not getting anything either. Verts didn't look too bad, but especially when Gakpo's 1 mil less, you're kind of thinking, oh, should I have gone with Gakpo? Especially if Isak doesn't sign for Liverpool in the end. I'm kind of wondering whether it might be worth downgrading to Gakpo in the future. And then Liverpool defence, I said that I wasn't convinced last week, and I'm still not convinced. I mean, conceded 2 goals, which we'll talk about in a bit. Van Dijk did hit 21 DEFCON though, so DEFCON beast for sure, but yeah, I'm still fairly okay not having the Liverpool defence for now. And yeah, Semenyo, bless him, got a brace, and I mean, you know, what a way to kind of combat the racial abuse that he'd been receiving during that game. Fair play to him, really respect it. He's not known really for his finishing, but he finished those chances really well. And he's definitely an option that some people might look at for the following game weeks, especially when they've got Wolves at home next. And then in terms of the defence, Senesi got 15 DEFCON points, and Trufer looked really good. He passed the eye test for me. He's someone that I'm kind of eyeballing a little bit. He looked really good. So yeah, that's the Liverpool-Bournemouth game. And then the Villa game, oof, very disappointing. I don't think that anyone really anticipated it to go the way that it did go. But one shot between Watkins and Rogers, they were just terrible, to be honest with you. And then the Konsa red card, so unnecessary. Because it was a last man foul, he'll be serving a 1 match ban rather than a 3, which is positive. But yeah, it won't be available for the Brentford game now. And yeah, Newcastle played a lot better than I thought they would, to be fair. Defensively, they were very solid. Livramento played really well. Gordon was playing as a number 9 again, which could be a positive, but I mean, let me know what you think in the comments below, but I don't really think that Gordon plays very well in the number 9 role. I don't think, it doesn't suit him. It's not his natural position, to say the least, anyway. So, I mean, it's good that he's playing there from an FPL perspective, and he's probably on pens, but I'm kind of hoping that he potentially grows into the role a little bit more, and the fixtures are a bit juicy coming up for Newcastle, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on. And then the Brighton-Fulham game, there's not much to report really, but O'Reilly took the penalty. Ruta won the pen, but O'Reilly took it, so that's interesting. And Muniz came on, got a last-minute goal, and Wilson started again and got an assist. Wilson at 5.5, I still really like him and he continues to start, so he's definitely an option, but there seems to be a lot of 5.5 million options floating around at the moment. But yeah, if he continues to start, he will definitely be on my radar later on in the season. And then the Sunderland-West Ham game, oh my goodness, I don't think anyone predicted this scoreline either. I mean, I think West Ham just had a bit of a mare with like the goalkeeper and the front line. They looked like they were really, really struggling. But I do think that West Ham were quite unfortunate in a sense. I mean, they conceded 3 goals from 0.75 XG. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't good for West Ham at all. But I think the scoreline did flatter Sunderland a little bit. But yeah, I think the person that stood out was Ballard. I mean, he got a goal, got clean sheet points, and even got the DEFCON points as well. I think he could be a really cheeky option next week against Burnley, because we'll talk about it in a little bit. But Burnley didn't look great defensively, and he could easily score a header against them or something. So he's very interesting. Also, Mayenda and Isidore scoring. It doesn't look very good for Guiu, does it? I mean, he didn't get any minutes at all in the game, but yeah, doesn't seem like he'll be starting anytime soon. So if you're on the bench boost too and you have him, I would maybe reconsider it. But yeah, that's that game. And then the Spurs-Burnley game, I mean, not too surprised by it, but the fact that Richarlison came on, well, started and got a brace. Kudus with 2 assists as well. Did really, really well. And, you know, obviously Solanke's kind of working back into the game with his fitness and stuff, but with Richarlison performing like that, it kind of shows he wants to start and that there's going to be a lot of competition there. But with 6.5 mil, he could be a really nice option, but I would always be a bit worried about minutes, to be honest. And then Sarr at 5 mil getting an assist and DEFCON points as well. He continues to be a really interesting option that people aren't talking too much about. And yeah, Burnley, not much to say. I mean, they did accumulate quite a lot of XG, nearly 1 XG, but they did struggle quite a lot. And I feel like they're going to be a team to target in the upcoming game weeks. Wolves, Man City, I mean, Haaland just doing Haaland things, got a brace. I mean, it's lucky that he's not even that highly owned at the moment, but it does hurt a little bit when you see him perform like that. Reinders, though, absolute star of the show. It was so good. I'm so happy that I own him right now. And for 5.5 million, he could be an absolute steal. Yeah, just incredible. There's not much to say. I mean, if you haven't seen the highlights, I would watch it just to see how he performed. It was incredible. And then Rang getting DEFCON points as well. Wasn't overly attackering or anything, but solid. And, you know, they got a clean sheet. So, yeah, Rang was really good. And then Wolves, Arias being benched was quite a surprise. I feel like they shouldn't be benching him, but obviously that's up to Pereira, not me. And then JSL, obviously they didn't get anything in this game, but he got 2 shots on target. And maybe it's because I own him, but I do think he will come to some good in the upcoming game weeks. I just hope that they find their feet a little bit. But yeah, defensively, I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't touch their defenders with a barge pole, I can't lie. So yeah, I know that some people have the likes of Agbadou, which makes sense because of the DEFCON potential, but yeah, not for me. And then Nottingham Forest, Brentford, pre-season baiting us again. Nottingham Forest had scored 1 goal in how many pre-season games? It was like 7 or something, and then Wood goes and gets a brace. Honestly, the most upsetting thing ever. Like, if it weren't for pre-season games, Wood would have been in my team. But Anderson assists though. Obviously, the Man City game happened first, and I'm sure Anderson owners were worrying a little bit. But Anderson got an assist, and he was so close to getting DEFCON points as well. He looked really, really good. So, you know, if you have him, I wouldn't be concerned. I would be more than happy to own him right now. And with the DEFCON, surprisingly, only Aina got the DEFCON points. Not Murillo, not Milenkovic, not Williams, Aina. So, classic FPL. And then Brentford, I'm still not very impressed, I can't lie. And well, they've lost a lot of players, so it's understandable. But offensively and defensively, they were very, very poor. Thiago got the pen in the end, and perhaps he will become good value, especially because the striker that Brentford were looking at are now at Nottingham Forest, ironically. So he could become a decent option at 6 mil, but I'm still not crazy convinced. But then I guess I had the likes of Fulkrug, so maybe switching to Thiago in game week 3, for example, might be the play. Chelsea Crystal Palace 0-0. Didn't expect that one actually. Oh yeah, Chelsea were a little bit disappointing attacking wise. JP didn't really get much service. Palmer I just don't think he's very good in the 10. I think he needs to be on the right wing. But I don't know. It does worry me, especially because he's a lot of money in FPL and we keep seeing him play as a 10 and he's just not really doing all that much. So hoping that he eventually starts returning, or we may have to sell, who knows. GYÖKERES was quite impressive though, 0.21 XGI. Looked really good, and they obviously got the clean sheet, which is very, very good. And then with Crystal Palace, Eze got a disallowed goal again. Someone reminded me that in Game Week 1 last year, he got a disallowed goal as well. That's so true, I absolutely forgot about that. And then, yeah, other than that, not too much happened. I mean, Mateta missed a huge chance. He should have scored, really. But other than that, not too much to report on. So, yeah. And then Man United, Arsenal. Ahmad was benched, which was quite surprising. Does show that Amorim is willing to kind of bench even players that are quite good. So if you have Dorgu, I'd maybe be a little bit concerned. But yeah, we'll have to see. Fernandez playing in the central midfield, obviously not ideal, but it was to be expected. And he was very close to getting DEFCON, by the way, but for 9 mil, we'll have to see whether it is worth it or not, his value. I am still very worried, though, especially for Game Week 3. I'm going to be terrified, to be honest. And then Cunha, he really, really impressed me. He's so good at dribbling the ball, isn't he? Just very, very creative, just not afraid. Like I think he could be really, really good for Game Week 3 and for other game weeks as well. I'm just very, very impressed. Even with Mbermo, but I guess we're yet to see them do much attacking wise. So we've got to see a little bit more from them. But Cunha is standing out to me at the moment. Then Arsenal, quite unimpressive, to be honest with you. I mean, Calafiori got the set-piece goal. Not too surprising when it comes to Man United. Goalkeeper had a little bit of a mare, really. But yeah, I wasn't overly impressed. I mean, Saka was pretty much invisible. And the thing that worries me is that GYÖKERES got subbed off at 59 minutes and he wasn't overly good in the game either. But coming off that early in the game, that does worry me, especially when you've got the likes of Watkins that's probably going to play 90 minutes every game. So even though they have Leeds next week, GYÖKERES, I'm not too sure. He could easily get a goal within that time against Leeds, but just those minutes are quite concerning to me. And obviously Havertz is there knocking on the door, so I'm wondering whether he's even going to be an option at all at this point, and we're yet to see who's taking the pen, so yeah. That's that one. And then finally, the game which I got the prediction right about, Leeds versus Everton, 1-0. I mean, Tarkowski, bless him, had a bit of a whirlwind of a game, didn't he? I mean, missed a huge chance, accumulated DEFCON points, which is really, really good. And he looks so strong. And then he can see the pen, which was a little bit controversial, but yeah, Nemecha took the pen. And Goodmanson looked very attacking. I picked Bijol. I wanted to be a little bit different, and I was like, he could be like a DEFCON monster in the future, but Goodmanson looks really good, so I'm kind of thinking, I kind of wish I'd gone there. So yeah, overall, those were the Game Week 1 highlights, and let's move on to Pickle's Pointers. So with Pickle's Pointers, what I tend to do is go on X and ask you guys what dilemmas or dilemmas you have for the upcoming game week. What I try to do is kind of get the main ones, combine them together, and then try and guide you through those. So for future game weeks, if you have any dilemmas that you'd like me to guide you through, then please follow me on X at FPL_pickle. But yeah, the general theme for this week, it seems, was panic. And before I start going into anything specific, I just want to say, please do not panic. We are 1 game week in. There are 37 game weeks to go. It's not the be-all or end-all right now. You could be like at 8 million rank and still finish top 10k. So just, I think whatever you do, just stay calm, don't panic, and just stick with your strategy. In terms of wildcarding, I really wouldn't do that. I think your team would have to be insanely, insanely wrong. And is there a team that can even be wrong at this stage? But I think it would have to be insanely wild for me to say, yeah, you need to use your wild card on that, because I just think the wild card could be so valuable further down the line. I just wouldn't go there, basically. In terms of Reinders, this is a difficult one because he looks so good for his price point. And we have to remember that Pepperella is still a thing, but he does look very promising. But I think the answer to this is it depends. I think if you have the likes of an Anderson, I wouldn't make that move, because Anderson looks really good. Forest have really good fixtures. He can easily rack up DEFCON. I think Anderson's a really nice pick. I honestly wish I had both. However, if you have like an Arias who got benched, then maybe I would consider switching. Or if you have the likes of Tielemans, I would maybe consider downgrading him to a Reinders, because then it frees you up some money as well. So it does depend. But I wouldn't really make any moves right now, but if you really, really want to, I would only say do it if you have the likes of an Arias or potentially a Tielemans or something like that. In terms of Palmer, I know that people are quite concerned because he's not really been returning, and even the back end of last season he wasn't really returning. And again, I would wait a little bit longer. I think give him a chance. They have West Ham next week, and we saw how bad West Ham were in game week 1. So I think give it at least a couple of weeks to see how it will pan out and how he performs. But it could be a case where further down the line, having a combination of Salah and Haaland might be the better way to go. But again, I wouldn't make any drastic moves right now. So I'm going to say yes, it's worth keeping him for now. But we'll not be too stubborn. If he keeps blanking and keeps blanking and he's following that same pattern, then I think it might be feasible to move him out in the future. In terms of Konza, understandable if you want to move him out, especially with getting the red card, but it is only a 1-match ban, so he'll be back for game week 3. And I don't know, I mean, you obviously picked him in for a reason. I'm very happy to keep him, to be fair. But if you've got like other injuries, for example, or there's a player that you really, really would prefer to have, like a truther, then fair enough, go for it. But other than that, I wouldn't really go there. In terms of captaincy, I think that this is obviously going to really depend on what premium players you have. I mean, I have Salah and Palmer, so in terms of captaincy, it's going to be a little bit difficult to decide. Because, I mean, Palmer has the better fixture on paper, but with his form, he hasn't been great. But we have seen how bad West Ham were. And then Salah, he did get a goal last week, but he hasn't been great either. And Newcastle looked quite good defensively. So, yeah, those aren't the best of options. But between those, I'd probably just stick with Salah. If you've got Saka, he hasn't been great either, but it's Leeds at home. So if you have Saka, I'd probably captain him. And then if you have Haaland and Salah, for example, or Haaland and Palmer, I would probably captain Palmer. So I think in terms of captaincy ranking the premiums, I would go Saka, Haaland, Salah and Palmer. But it's very much down to risk appetite, and it's quite difficult because they're all probably on penalties, although Saka's a little bit... But the fixture looks good and they should do well against Leeds, so yeah, difficult one. You could maybe consider Watkins. That is potentially an option with Brentford away, and Brentford haven't been great, but I don't know whether I could go there, but I could see why people would want to. But yeah, it's a little bit of a sticky one. And then free hitting, I've had a lot of questions about free hitting. I do kind of get it, especially because none of us really have any Arsenal players, but I haven't really seen enough from them to say I really, really want to have triple Arsenal, and to the point where I want a free hit. But I do love Arsenal defence, to be fair, and it would be nice to have them for this game week. So if you're really, really desperate to, I don't blame you. And obviously there's the Sunderland-Burnley fixture to target as well. Even the Bournemouth-Wolves game. So there are quite a lot of fixtures that we haven't really targeted with our game week 1 teams that you kind of want to target here. So I definitely get the strategy. And I have a couple of free hit teams that I want to show you, so I'll show you those now. So these are a couple of screenshots from FPL team to show you if I was on a free hit this week, this is the kind of draft that I would go for. And the one on the left has Haaland in, the one on the right doesn't have Haaland in. But around the premiums, other than that, the kind of players stay the same. In terms of the defence, I would definitely go double Arsenal defence. I just think they're so good and it's such a good fixture to target. And I don't know whether I've been a little bit swayed, but I'm back in Sunderland here rather than Burnley. Burnley just didn't impress me at all, and I know that a lot of people have the likes of Dubravka and Estev on their benches and they're going to want to start them. But I think that Sunderland are probably going to dominate in this game, and I could see Ballard getting another goal. So that's why I've put him in, and the ability to get DEFCON as well, because it will be a little bit more cagey. And there is the chance that it could be a 0-0 game like they tended to be when they're in the Championship, but I reckon there will be some goals, to be fair. And then Truther, I just think he's quite an interesting pick, especially with Wolves, so I'm happy to go with him. Put Reinders in there, he was so good, I wouldn't want to go without him. And then one of the drafts has Semenyo because he performed really well, whereas the other has like Evanilson instead. So I'm kind of targeting this the Bournemouth Wolves game, the Sunderland Burnley game, and then having some premiums around that. So yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think of the drafts and what kind of team you're thinking of if you go the free hit. Are there any major players that you are going differently to me, or is this the kind of structure that you're going for? Because I haven't really looked into free hit 2 all that much. I kind of just quickly made some drafts and I haven't really been researching into it because, to be honest, I'm not going to go there. But yeah, if you are on free hit 2, let me know down in the comments what your drafts are looking like. But for now, let's move on to Pickle's punts. So, Pickle's punts, I feel like I've alluded to all of these players throughout the video anyway. But yeah, again, Tijani Reinders, he was absolutely incredible. Again, I would only go there this week if you have a player like Arias or Tielemans, for example. But if you have an Anderson, I'd probably leave it alone. But yeah, if you're really looking to make a transfer this week, Tijani Reinders, 5.5 million, he looks absolutely unreal. So I know that Tottenham's not the easiest game in the world, but it is at home, and Spurs did concede quite a lot of XG in that game, even though they won 3-0, so I wouldn't put it past them to score a few goals, and I think Tijani Reinders, if they do score any goals, he will be involved in them, so yeah, he's one. And then Truffert from Bournemouth, he's just passing the eye test for me. I think he played really well against Liverpool, and I think he accumulated around 0.13 XGA in that game. So yeah, seems really attacking, and I know that he was a player that a lot of people had their eyes on before the Prem started. But yeah, I'm quite interested, and I think with the games coming up, I think that he could be a really nice option. And then Mateus Cunha, again, talked about him a little bit already, but just seems so attacking, dribbles the ball really well. I just think that he could be the source of a lot of goals for Man United this season. They do need to find their feet a little bit, but I think for this week, and especially game week 3 as well, if you really wanted to downgrade Averts, for example, then Cunha might be a really nice differential to go for. Let me know down in the comments what you think, or if there are any other players that you'd be convinced about buying this week. Now, Pickle's passes. The first one's a little bit awkward because he was in my Pickle's punts last week, but Fulkrug. West Ham were a lot worse than I thought they were going to be, and I think with the games that they've got coming up now, Fulkrug is an absolute avoid. I wouldn't go there. I think for now, if you've got him, just stick with him and see how it goes, but I wouldn't buy him in a million years at this point. So yeah, that's disappointing. Second one, this is a player that I wanted to include last week, but I was a bit worried about backlash, to be fair. But Yuri Tielemans, I'm not really convinced. He's such a good player and he's on set pieces and things, and I understand that, but I just think as an FPL asset, I've never really been that wowed by him. And I think with all the 5.5 million options that are becoming available now, like Reinders, I know he's gone up in price now, but like Wilson, Anderson, I just think that these kinds of players provide better value for money, and I think that 0.5 could be really useful elsewhere, so you'll have to let me know what you think about that. I would personally just stick to the likes of Watkins and Rodgers, and Villa are known to be inconsistent as shown in Game Week 1, so I wouldn't have too many of them, so yeah, Yuri Tielemans, not for me. And then, maybe controversial again, but GYÖKERES. I know that they've got Leeds at home next week, but the fact that he got less than 60 minutes last week, it just concerns me. And I know that he is potentially going to be on pens and whatnot, but I just don't think I want to gamble on a player with minutes like that. If he got more like 75 to 80 minutes, then I'd be fairly happy. But Havertz coming on that early, he would worry me too much every single week. So it's a shame to say it, but GYÖKERES is an avoid for me. And at last, but by no means least, we have Pickle's predictions. And as mentioned earlier, we're 1 down, 9 to go. So the first one I actually wrote down before Arsenal scored that goal against Man United, and that is Anderson will score a header against Man United. And my thought process behind this was that Man United aren't exactly well renowned for defending set pieces well. And as I have Anderson, this could be a little bit cheeky, but I think it could happen. The second one, however, I hope it doesn't happen, but my second one is that Rodgers will blank against Brentford. And there's not much to say about this one, it's just a horrible gut feeling, but yeah, I hope it's not true. I hope I'm wrong about that one, to be honest. And then third one, I think that Verts could get DEFCON points against Newcastle. I think they will have to do a bit of defending in this game, and I know that Verts isn't exactly going to be racking up DEFCON points all the time or anything like that, and that's not why we picked him, but yeah, that's one of my predictions. So yeah guys, let me know down in the comments what you think about the predictions, and please give me 3 predictions of your own on what could happen in Game Week 2, I'd be really interested to hear them. If you have any charities in mind in which you'd like me to support as well, please let me know down in the comments and I'll keep those in mind. So yeah guys, that wraps up the Pickles preview video. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. Please like the video and please consider subscribing as well if you're new around here. I'd really appreciate the support. And I hope to see you guys very soon for my team selection video. Bye bye!